Hi, I'm Alan Parleir. We're here in Oklahoma City, and in my neighborhood, I spend most of my life trying to help create community around growing food. We moved in this neighborhood back in the middle 80s, and it was struggling pretty hard. There was a lot of crime and crack houses and gangster activity and a lot of boarded up houses, and I really feel like it's important for people to live in a safe and comfortable environment where they know their neighbors and don't feel that they have to live out of fear. And we just stumbled on the opportunity to use growing food as a way to bring the community together, and so now I'm really passionate about growing gardens in the front yard as a model for community organizing. Here you can see we got some squash growing around the okra and our tomatoes. We harvested 150 pounds of tomatoes yesterday. Here's eggplant, sweet potatoes, cucumbers, more peppers. So as you're walking up here, you probably feel like you're in the middle of a nice rural farm or a nice place in the woods, but we're really in the heart of Oklahoma City. We're 3 miles north of downtown, this used to be a vacant lot where a house was, and now we've turned it into our urban farm. We have neighbors all around, and it was a problem, and a house had come up for sale, and the realtor would call the code officers to say, we gotta clean that up. Now the realtors are saying, this house is only a half a block away from the community garden, a half a block away from the urban farm, or right down the block from the community garden. So it's become an asset for the neighborhood. I think it's always been an asset, but now it's becoming more accepted as an asset.
Every community should have a community garden. It teaches you leadership. It teaches you food process. It teaches you where your food comes from, how to grow it, how to harvest it, and it lets you know the things that you really like and dislike.
This lot here, we decided to turn into our compost lot. So here we have tree companies dump their wood chips, and then we use the wood chips to mix with the food that we pick up from Whole Foods. So we picked up the food waste from Whole Foods this morning, and we had a whole trailer load, an 18-foot trailer load of 5 pallets of food waste that Whole Foods was letting go of to, instead of putting in the landfill, they divert it to us so we can use it to create compost. Mixing the wood chips, which is carbon, the food waste, which is nitrogen, you mix the carbon and the nitrogen, and then that makes a really hot compost pile. Get some fruit salad going.
You might can get these things.
Wood chips, and so we just put that in and let the worms keep working.
A lot better with 2 people in there.
Yeah.
And this is feels like it was cut, so over and under is more in the front of the shirt. So behind it,
Right over here, we have all the folks working with the trailer. They're sorting the compostable food from what's still maybe good for people or for animals. We've got some friends with ducks and goats and chickens, and so we'll take some food for them. And then all the volunteers, when we get done, we'll be able to take some of the food waste home with them to use.
I know that. They should have come over there on Saturday.
Rhubarb. Rhubarb.
I like to be a part of this effort because I get to meet a lot of new people, and they help out. They teach children how to garden, they teach them how to compost, and also it beads up leadership skills for me because I get to lead them into different projects. So it benefits everybody.
It's really important for us to show that on a vacant lot in a city, it's possible to create a production farm to feed a lot of people. So this is Commonwealth Urban Farms in our neighborhood on a vacant lot, and we harvest enough for 30 families every Friday here from April 1st to November 30th, and we distribute that food through a CSA community-supported agriculture as opposed to market-supported, so that a community of people come together. We have 30 families that contribute, and then they get to share in the harvest. Instead of watering the grass, make sure you water inside the bed. That way we won't have to mow the grass so much, and then the plants inside the bed will get more water. And that's sweet potatoes there. And we need to water the strawberries too, so.
It really builds up community. Like, we know all our neighbors, nobody's a stranger. We know each other, we can say hi, we can have conversations with each other. It's not that hard because everybody likes to come together and work together. And that's what Alan and Leah have done for us.
Alan and Leah have just helped a number of people in the community, not just the youth, but they kind of concentrated on helping the youth. And I've seen just people stop by and ask for assistance, and Alan and Leah were more than willing to do what they could to help that person. And this is not just something I've seen last week or last month. This is something I've seen over the last 20 years. And I just think they're exceptional people. But this is their passion. It's not a job to Leah and Alan, it's their passion. They're making a big difference in the community. They really are.
What is this?
I've been working with youth for many, many years, kids who are not quite making healthy decisions, right choices, and also done a lot of community organizing. And it's in the last 10, 15 years discovering that growing food and doing organic gardening and landscaping and composting is a great model for community organizing, and it's a great model for working with youth to help them stretch from their self-identity and their sometimes they're caught in a street kind of self-image, and getting them to spend some time with some worms and some bugs and critters and plants can get them out of that self-image and get them into a more of a community-minded image. And so that's what I do now, is work with teenagers and neighborhood friends doing gardening and organic gardening and composting, and helping to build a more resilient community with all of the age levels in our neighborhood. The teenagers, the young adults, the elderly adults, the children, everybody can come together around growing food.